Imagine heading into your first college football season filled with hope, dreams, and the promise of greatness, only for that future to vanish in an instant. That was the life of Corey Adams, the 18-year-old freshman defensive end at the University of Mississippi whose potential was tragically cut short by a shooting in Cordova, Tennessee. Known for an explosive motor off the edge, towering presence at 6'4" and 250 pounds, and a relentless attitude epitomized by his own mantra, "I don't fear nobody," Corey emerged from New Orleans as a standout at Edna Karr High School, earning two-time All-State honors and attracting scholarship offers from top-tier programs before choosing Ole Miss in early 2025, where he quickly impressed head coach Lane Kiffin and teammates during spring practice with his pass-rush burst, stout run defense, and natural athletic ability that suggested he was on the verge of becoming a cornerstone of the Rebels' defensive front. Off the field, he was remembered as the embodiment of community spirit, academic responsibility, and a caring friend, described by his former principal as a friend, brother, son, student, all-around great young man, and by his new college coaches as someone who brought energy, leadership potential, and humility to every huddle and meeting room. Yet late one Saturday night, Corey and 4 other young men were caught in a violent incident along Fern Glade Cove in Cordova, where the Shelby County Sheriff's Office responded to reports of gunshots around 10:14 p.m., only to find Corey gravely wounded with catastrophic injuries. Despite immediate efforts by responding deputies and fire crews, he succumbed to his wounds at the scene while the other victims sustained non-life-threatening injuries, and law enforcement has since launched a homicide investigation, promising updates as evidence is processed and witnesses are interviewed. In the aftermath, Ole Miss Athletics released a statement expressing devastation, asking the public for privacy so his family could grieve in peace, while Edna Karr posted an emotional tribute reading, "We are heartbroken, tormented to pieces," and urging their community to remember him beyond the uniform. A vibrant student-athlete who excelled not only in the weight room and film sessions but also in classes, volunteer events, and everyday kindness gestures to peers and fans alike. Social media platforms have since filled with heartfelt messages grappling with disbelief and sorrow. Tweets from teammates recalling late-night film breakdowns and pre-dawn workouts, fans sharing highlight clips from spring practices where Corey mauled offensive tackles with power and grace, and coaches lamenting the loss of a rare blend of physical prowess and emotional maturity. "We're heartbroken by the passing of Corey Adams," read one post from the official Ole Miss football account. "Our thoughts are with his family, friends, and all who knew and loved him," reflecting a campus and fan base united in grief. National and local media have covered the story extensively, highlighting both the human tragedy and the sports dimensions. Cause lines about a top defensive recruit gone before his opportunity to don Rebel Red, questions about athlete safety off campus, and sober reminders of gun violence's toll on young African American men in America. As friends, reporters, and community leaders speak of Corey, they recall his encouraging words in the locker room, his high school coach noting his capacity to motivate fellow players, his teachers remarking on how he balanced film study with community service, and his teammates emphasizing how he lifted the room without demanding the spotlight. Visually, viewers will see clips of Corey in movement, his hands exploding at the quarterback, pad-level crushing blockers, eyes locked on film, his lean but muscular frame poised to strike, cut with images of his hometown pride. Edna Karr's blue and gold banners, paused snapshots of him walking to class, gloves in hand, football cleats beside textbooks, symbolizing the dual life of student and athlete. Amid these are scenes of Cordova's Samba Memorial Vigil, candles flickering at dusk on sidewalk curbs, flowers arranged beneath a streetlight where next-generation athletes' final breath lingered in the air, accompanied by quiet tears from community supporters rallying behind his grieving family. Woven through the narrative are recorded statements from Shelby County law enforcement, sheriff's representatives confirming the shooting remains under investigation, investigators analyzing ballistics, canvassing neighborhoods, appealing for witnesses, and expressing solidarity with the victim's family while promising to pursue justice. This video delicately handles the essence of tragedy, prioritizing facts over speculation, empathy over sensationalism, integrity over shock value, walking viewers through the timeline from the moment Corey's scholarship offer became Official, and he arrived on campus as an early enrollee, through the intensity of spring practices where his trademark quick setup and violent hands flashed on the field, to the heartbreak of alumni and fans who envisioned a season where he'd anchor the defensive front. We explore how his presence in Lane Kiffin's system could have boosted the Rebels' pass rush ranks, how his absence leaves a gap in depth and morale, and how his teammates process the loss. A young freshman, full of life and camaraderie, now silenced, leaving gaps in the locker room where his voice once rose in chants and laughter. We highlight the ripple effect. Edna Karr's recruiting board now empty, a hometown star's jersey retired in anticipation of his debut season, and college coaches grappling with what comes after the dream shatters. We emphasize community reactions across New Orleans. Students and coaches wearing t-shirts printed with his initials and number in tribute. Youth football camps dedicated to keeping his legacy alive, scholarship initiatives in his name to support underprivileged student-athletes, and prayer vigils blending high school pride with college allegiance to remember not just the athlete, but the son and friend, through carefully chosen interviews. Sound bites from a neighbor who described Corey as always respectful, always smiling, from a teammate who recalled how he carried extra pads for equipment managers, from an aunt who said he phoned after every road game to make sure the whole family was watching. We paint a portrait of a young man grounded in family, with the poise of someone who'd known early what hard work meant, but also the warmth of someone who understood what it meant to uplift others. Strategically placed are game film montages. Snap to explosion, ridges of defensive trench blitzing, the lightning-fast dip and rip move, comfortable power snaps, eyes tracking the quarterback while anticipating run flow. Evidence of a young talent whose next breakthrough could have come in the first half of the fall season, and possibly earned him national recognition. Woven between those clips are images of campus, autumn leaves on the grove, rebel flags snapping in afternoon wind, quiet dawn hours before practice when his absence is felt by empty lockers, and between them a respectful voiceover reads, "Corey arrived early with intention, practiced with purpose, raised bar, but sensed dreams can be fragile," as the tone stays appropriately somber and dignified. We also include meaningful reflections on the broader implications of this tragedy. How gun violence threatens the futures of America's youth, how athlete safety doesn't begin and end in weight rooms and helmets but extends to responsible campus and community protocols, how families endure grief while processing unresolved questions about purpose and safety. Interspersed are graphics citing statistics. Number of college athletes affected by violence annually, demographic breakdowns, comparative crime rates in Memphis metro areas, to provide context, never blame, but to illuminate the structural circumstances in which young talents like Corey pursue dreams. Importantly, the video avoids partisan divides. No finger-pointing, no policy debates cluttering the narrative. Focus stays on story, not politics. Toward the end, we introduce footage of a scholarship fund being established at Edna Karr in Corey's name, and remarks from family members expressing both their grief and resolve. "He dreamed forever, so we'll live for him," one relative is heard saying, and another nods, "Let his work matter." We show fans and teammates signing a memorial board beneath his high school locker, tears cleaning chalk dust from cracked concrete, while on campus, Rebel head coach and athletic director stands solemnly after spring practice, announcing a brief moment of silence before resuming drills, a signifier not of forgetfulness, but of remembrance and respect. As we near the close, we reflect on Corey's unyielding attitude, how he greeted challenges like college transition, moved across states to pursue a goal, juggled school, workouts, and film study, handled adversity with maturity beyond his years, and we pose the critical question to viewers through voiceover: what becomes of a life that begins with so much promise but ends before promise is fulfilled? Not to sensationalize but to center the fragility of youth and the value of memory. In final frames, we feature a still photo of Corey in mid-celebration after a spring practice sack, following with a slow fade to a shot of lit candles at his vigil under a starry Cordova sky, accompanied by an emotional but respectful musical score shifting to silence as words appear on screen, in memory of Corey Adams. 2007 to 2025. Run free. The screen remains blank for a respectful pause before the video concludes, honoring the athlete, son, friend, student, and brother whose life and story ended too soon but whose impact will long outlive his years. encouraging viewers to remember the man more than the moment, and to reflect on how every person touched by this loss might honor his legacy through kindness, community action, and refusing to let his story fade. This narrative strand ensures the video uplifts while it mourns, informs, while it grieves, and leaves the audience with both tears and a call to heart, to carry forward the light Corey carried until the shooting extinguished it.